Okay, we're up to version 10 of the librarian. And I'd like to talk about the latest software, which the changes aren't all that drastic or anything, but the librarian will go through and do the update for you of both the presets and this time also the profiles. So what's new? The diff command is a little more versatile. It can compare a preset or a profile anywhere to anywhere, pretty much. So it could be a slot on your D-Lev, it could be the knobs in your D-Lev, it could be a DLP file, it could be a slot inside of a pre or a pro or an EEPROM file for either the base or the comparison. So that's new and different. We have a new stats command, and that shows you the operating frequencies of the pitch and volume field oscillators, and it can also show you processor errors if there are any. And I'll just show that to you here. So if you don't use any flags whatsoever, it gives you the full status. So our pitch field is running at 1.26 megahertz, and our volume field is running at 903 kilohertz, and there are no processor errors. So that's kind of basically it for the librarian, or for the librarian changes. And if we just do this without anything, we get the update menu that we've become accustomed to. You'll notice there are two new commands down here. So if we do an H, we can get the help. And if we do HV, we get the full help with all the examples and all the notes along with the commands and flags. So that's different. The README now, which is option 0, is more extensive. It tells you the software changes, it tells you about the librarian changes, and it tells you about what it's going to do when it does update processing of the presets and now the profiles also. So what is new in the software? If you set the oscillator harm to less than 0, if to negative value, then oscillators 1 and 2 have no harmonics, they're sine waves, and this was a suggestion by Vincent, which is a good one. It makes the ring modulation more mellow, more like what you might find in a Mooger Fugger. And the X-Mix, if you set that to a negative value, you'll get ring modulation instead of the mixing of oscillator 0, 1, and 2. You get the multiplication of oscillator 0 with the sum of oscillator 1 and 2. And oscillator 1 and 2 are set to A440, a fixed frequency. And you can offset that with the octave control and with the OFFS knobs on the one OSC screen. Alright, what else? Velocity is new. I've gone through and pretty much revamped the whole velocity section, and it now rectifies the velocity, which is what it used to do if you set velocity negative. Otherwise, you get a bidirectional velocity, and bidirectional velocity I think is much superior to a rectified velocity. You can do quick horn stabs and vocal kind of pops with bidirectional velocity easier. Also, the cutoff frequency is set much higher. Instead of 10 Hertz, it's 40 Hertz, and I'm using a high-pass filter instead of a band-pass filter. So you don't get as much wind-up, and you don't get as much kind of noticeable decay after you use the velocity. Alright, in the profiles, all OFS plus minus knobs, the resolution has been increased, not the range, just the resolution. So the knobs now go from 0 to 255 instead of 0 to 127. This is just this is something that somebody else requested, another project requested. But this means that you have to update your profiles to have them kind of function correctly. You can do this manually. You can just double the number if you wanted to. Just look at what your OFS plus and minus numbers are and just double it. But the automated update does other things too. All right, the drop knob now I think is improved too. That's completely renovated. It's a cross mix of a linear normal volume response and volume squared response with a pivot point at minus 12 dB. So what that does is it still kind of gives you silence, but but at higher settings it also it gives you kind of a curved response to the loudest volumes that I think a lot of analog players might prefer. And I use some of it myself. I think it's actually kind of nice to have the loudest point approached rather gradually rather than kind of directly. The drop knob source is now post OFS plus, which I think is more consistent. And the lift knob source is now post sense and squared scaled. So that's kind of more consistent too. And but the lift you may and the drop you may notice that you have to set them differently than the way they were set before. Okay, so with the librarian changes we have like I showed you, there's a new stats command. The EEPROM file name is a little different. It includes the hour and the minute now, just to help you in case you have to do multiple backups in a single setting. You know, this will differentiate them hopefully if they're spaced out more than a minute. There's H and HV commands, which I just showed you. And we're in the extended README info right here, so that's new. So when I do the update processing, what's going to happen is it'll increase, it'll go through all the presets, and it will set Xmix to be correct for the new weighting. The new weighting is more linear, and it just kind of matches kind of what's going on with the ring modulation and other things, but it needs to be reset. And it'll also go through all of the presets, and if there is no significant knee or velocity, it will set a knee point, a knee strength, and a velocity strength to all of those presets that don't have that. I think you need some knee, I think, just to quiet it. I think it's good, and to kind of make the volume response consistent across presets. So, as I said before, the profile update, which is new this time, it's going to double your OFS minus and OFS plus knobs on your P field and V field pages. Also on those pages, it's going to apply default dither of 2. The previous default dither of 0 is really too low, below the theoretical kind of minimum. So 2 is closer to that, and I think it's kind of a stay out of trouble kind of thing. And it also applies a drop of 16 default to all of the profiles. And I think that's a nice kind of happy medium. That's the setting that I'm using right now. So the general is still pretty much the same. So we're going to do an update of all the presets and profiles. So we're going to do steps 1 through 7. And all these other options are still the same. So let's do it. We'll check our port. It says the current port is 1. Guys used menu selection 1 here. So it's telling me current port is 1. And do I want to change it? No. Do I want to test it? Okay. It says it's okay. Alright, we'll back up our system. Do you want to back up your system? Yes. Alright. We're going to check the software now, which is 3. So it says my software is version this one. It's dated the last release. It's old. You may want to update it. It passes CRC check. Presets can be updated with this version of the librarian, and profiles can also be updated with this version of the librarian. So do I want to update my software? Yes. Alright, it reset with the processor. It's telling me the version is this now. The date is the latest. The software is current, and it passes CRC checks. That's all good. Alright. So, now do we want to download our, do we want to do step 4 here? Download all the presets and profiles to the work directory. Do I want to do it? Yes. So it's getting all my presets. And then it split them into DLP, number DLP files. So you can see that here. And that's cool. Do I want to now this is new. Do you want to download the D-Lev profiles? And I'll say yes. So I've got 6 DLP files. Okay, now do we want to update those files that we just downloaded? Yes. So it updated 125 of 250. And you can go back and kind of see what it did. See, it's giving default knees, default knee, velocity, location, that sort of thing, which is what we expected. Do we want to update the profiles? Yes. This is new. So you can see what it did with each profile. It set the default dither, default drop, and it doubled all of the OFS minus and OFS plus. You can kind of see that here. Did the same thing with all of them. Alright, now we can upload them, the updated presets and profiles. Do you want to upload the presets? Yes. So it joined all the numbered DLP files together into this file here, upload.pre, and now it's uploading that file in a bulk kind of way. And this takes a bit, so I may split the video here. Okay, so it pumped all of the presets up, and now this is new too. Do you want to upload the profiles that have been updated? We'll say yes. This is really quick. All right, and you'll notice we got a processor reset after this, so everything should be cool. So now, do we want to upload the latest new presets? Yes. And here's a list of the latest new presets. They're just a bunch of ring modulation kind of demonstrations. I'll say, yeah, I want to look at my current D-Lev presets. Alright, so you can see 172 here is the next blank. So do we want to upload the latest presets? Yes. Where? 172. Okay, and we'll examine them again just to make sure everything's okay. Okay, so there's our new presets. That's cool. Alright. Is there anything else to do here? Nope, nothing. So you saw the update procedure and latest stuff in the software and in the librarian. Alright, well, thanks for watching.